Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news, where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. It's good to be back in the slot, and let's start off with, we're going to talk about Tengai Ndombele. Look, we were talking last night, it got quite heated about how quickly Manchester United could get their transfer business done, and who are the midfield options and who are the right wing options and who are the centre back options. So Ndombele, this is coming from sources in France that Manchester United are one of three clubs interested in signing Ndombele, but no agreement has been reached yet. Ndombele himself is apparently considering his options. Now, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago with Adam from Get French Football News, and he was saying that, look, Ndombele could come to Manchester United, but the likelihood is he'll probably go to a club that can offer Champions League football. He's 22 years of age, he's had a very, very good season, really stood out for Lyon in the games against, was it Barcelona? It was, wasn't it? And obviously he's part of the French setup, so there's a couple of things that I think go in United's favour, and there's a couple of things that don't go in our favour. Obviously, trudging around in the cowpats in the Emmerdale Cup isn't going to be appealing to Ndombele when Lyon are in the Champions League anyway, and there are clubs out there like Spurs who are favourites. Now, I think that's quite interesting with Spurs being favourites to sign a player like Ndombele. It's not often that Tottenham Hotspur would sign a player that most of Europe want to sign. So either Spurs are going to step forward into an area that they've not really done before, or he won't go to Spurs. PSG is interesting because obviously they've got the domination of the French league, but can PSG afford him? Probably they can, but it depends who else they're going to get. And Juventus could do with a player like Ndombele, but would have to move players on themselves, which look, and the Premier League then becomes more appealing. And Manchester United do need midfielders, and there's no doubting that a player of Ndombele's quality would massively, massively improve us. My only issue with Ndombele is, I think if Pogba goes, we don't get Ndombele. I think if Pogba stays, then maybe we've got an opportunity to get him because of that French connection. And also, let's not forget, Ndombele would be a player that would bring the best out of somebody like Paul Pogba. Now, the important thing about Ndombele is he can play centre defensive midfielder, but he's actually better in a box-to-box position and has played that slightly more for Lyon this season than he has the holding midfielder. But he could play it, and he would be more mobile than Matic, and there is no doubting he would be a good signing for Manchester United. And I think around £60 million would do it. I would hope that Manchester United are hovering around this deal saying, look, this is it, we'll pay the money, we'll give you the best terms, it's up to you whether you want to be part of this rebuild. And he would be a good player for the rebuild. He's only 22, it's a step up from Lyon to Manchester United. I know Lyon are doing better, but Manchester United is a step up, and just like it was a step down for Memphis Depay, and he would be playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he's got plenty of development left in the tank. So yeah, I would like him to come. It's one to consider. We don't know what our midfield options are, do we? We talk about Rabiot like it's going to happen on July the 1st, but the reality is with Adrien Rabiot is that he's free. He can talk to anybody he wants to, and he can go wherever he wants to. And all right, the financial package might be important to him, but he might fancy wandering into Anfield and playing in their midfield, or he might have an opportunity to go to Juventus's midfield. So Rabiot's not that easy. What are the midfield options for Manchester United? We speak about Thomas Partey and that release clause. We talk about Rabiot. We talk about Ndombele. But beyond that, there are options. I quite like Van der Beek from Ajax, and there are a couple of others, but we've got to be in there. We need midfielders. Our midfield is weak. I don't care what anybody says. Matic is the player that slows us down. McTominay, the jury's still out for me. Fred, I'm not convinced he's still going to be here. And Andres Pereira, has he missed the boat on his career? Is he really, really good enough? I'm not so sure. And Pogba, will he be here? So that midfield area, the engine room of United, it needs some work, and we need to be considering those players. Which brings me on to Rakitic. Now, Rakitic has been a bit like a yo-yo. He's been linked to United. He's publicly said he's staying. But obviously Barcelona are looking to sort of rebuild their team, spend a bit of money, probably going to get Griezmann. We don't know. We can talk about him in a minute. But Rakitic does keep getting linked to Manchester United. And you do get contrasting opinions on Rakitic. Mine is, he's 31. I watched him play and disappear at Anfield, and I thought, you know what? You won't suit the Premier League, son. You're a very good footballer, no doubting about that, and you've had a very, very good career. But you coming into the Premier League at 31, you'll get swallowed up, mate, because that is what the Premier League is. Okay, Liverpool, Anfield, European night. It was a good result to come back from with a 3-0 down to Barcelona. But the reality is, there wasn't a hell of a lot of difference between what Liverpool did to Barcelona and what most midfields in the Premier League will do. It's fast, they harry you, they get at you, and I don't think that suits Rakitic. I think Rakitic in a Barcelona team, knocking it about pretty, very, very good player in a slower league, but the Premier League is very fast, and I think Rakitic would be a massive mistake for Manchester United. I think he'd get swallowed up. We'd probably have to spend about 40 million in him. There's no longevity in the deal. He's only going to get slower and less and decline more. So I don't want Rakitic at Manchester United. I don't think he's the right signing at all, and I'm really grateful that we've seen him playing against Spurs in the group stage and Liverpool in the knockout stage, because we've seen actually he won't dominate a game, and he scored a very, very good goal at Wembley, and he played quite well in that game. But Wembley's a big pitch, and I don't think that him at his age would suit the Premier League. Much the same, I don't think Toni Kroos coming over to the Premier League at his age would be good. The Premier League is energetic, the Premier League is fast, and you'll get swallowed up, I'm afraid. Harry Maguire, well, give us your thoughts below about Rakitic, because there's many people saying, Rakitic, I saw one journalist yesterday saying Rakitic would be a major asset to Manchester United. He's experienced, he's still got a lot left in the tank, he's a top-class midfielder, and maybe he is, but I don't think he would suit the Premier League. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Anyway, let's talk about Harry Maguire, because the centre-back options seem to be moving around quite sharply at the moment. De Ligt, some people still believe we're going to get De Ligt. What I would say about De Ligt is just very, very quickly this. I don't want to talk about De Ligt any more than this. You see countless in the nose saying we are going to get De Ligt. It's just about this, that and the other. He's just staying quiet. This is where they get exposed as liars, because De Ligt's not even made his mind up yet. So how can people be saying De Ligt's coming to United for the last week, the last 2 weeks, the last 3 weeks, when he hasn't even made his bloody mind up yet? So De Ligt could come to United, but he hasn't made his mind up yet. If he goes to PSG, which is what many people are thinking now, then Manchester United have got to reassert and refocus on a new target. Now, I'd like it to be Koulibaly, but I don't think there's any hint coming out of Napoli that that's going to happen. Ancelotti said himself at the end of May that Koulibaly will be there next season, and unless Koulibaly forces the move, which he doesn't seem to be doing at the moment, then United aren't getting De Ligt or Koulibaly. I think Ruben Dias is very interesting, and it could be done very easily. Don't know why we're not looking to do it. But Harry Maguire, as Gary Neville said, Leicester City are going to struggle to keep hold of Harry Maguire. Now, there's some ridiculous story yesterday coming out that they've slapped a £90 million price tag on Harry Maguire, which is ridiculous, and it's unfair, because what happens then is people say he's not worth that, and then the negativity goes onto the player, because you go, he's not a £90 million player, and people start to think badly of the player. I like Harry Maguire. I wish we'd got him last summer, to be honest with you. I like him. As I've said before, he can play left-sided centre-back, so you can move Lindelof to the right. He's so good in the air, which would help United a lot. He can bring the ball out, and he doesn't make many mistakes. So it'd be a good signing for Manchester United. The price is ridiculous, £90 million. But if we can't get the main targets, and we do get Harry Maguire, it's an improvement on what we've got. And he is a good centre-back. And he does fit into that category that he's only just 26 years of age. And it would be a step up for him, and he would, you know, you can imagine him wearing a Manchester United shirt with real pride, running through brick walls. But he's also got that. I think he's still got more development in him. I know that sounds silly for a 26-year-old, but I do, and I think he would become a better player at Manchester United. Of course, the fee is the issue, and I want people to get in the comments and give honest opinions on Harry Maguire, because you've got to ignore the fee. The fee isn't his problem. The fee is Manchester United's problem, and it's Leicester's problem. But I think that this, unfortunately, if we do go down the route of Harry Maguire, it could be a long, drawn-out affair yet again, like it is with many of our signings, because a fair price for Harry Maguire is probably 70 million. It's overpriced, but when you look at Van Dijk going from Southampton for 75 million, you look at the fact that Harry Maguire is English, you look at the fact that Leicester probably don't want to sell him, I think 70 million is a fair price for him. I think if we spent 80 million on him, you've got to question, what are we doing about Koulibaly? Because you'd get Koulibaly for 100 million. I know his release clause is 130, but you'd get him for 100 million. So is it worth going Harry Maguire for 20 million less? I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see. I would take him. I'm worried that we would not get any centre-back. I don't think that's an option. So if we don't fancy Ruben Dias, I think Harry Maguire's got to be the one you go for. But we'll have to wait and see on that. João Felix, let's talk about him for a moment. He's apparently swaying towards Manchester City and playing under Pep Guardiola. I mean, look, for all the things we're doing in the transfer window, and we're trying to rebuild, and we're trying to, you know, reinvent the wheel in many ways at Manchester United. You look at the domination of Liverpool and Manchester City last season and how far ahead they are and how far ahead they were when we finished second, 20 odd points. They are so far ahead. And they've got players like David Silva who are sort of coming towards the end of their career now. And then they're going to go and get a 19-year-old João Felix who, to be honest with you, in that Man City team, will have a field day. I've never felt he was a United player. I've never felt he was coming to Manchester United. And I think he's way out of our price range for the problems that we need to solve. But looking like he's going to go to Manchester City, who are just going to get stronger and stronger. I mean, Pep Guardiola could almost go on holiday for half the year and they'll still win the title, won't they? It's depressing, but United, that's why United have got to get everything right this summer. We can't back out of deals for £5 million like we have done in the past. We can't go and get the B-Tech version when the better version's available for 20 million more. So we've got to get this transfer window right. And even if we get 5 or 6 really good signings for us, they've still got to gel, they've still got to work, and we've still got to then gel the team. So it's going to take us time. That's why this transfer window is so important for us. I mentioned Griezmann. With relation to Griezmann, I think he will sign for Barcelona. But again, there's still people confused by the fact that Atletico Madrid have said that he's going to Barcelona. He can't go anywhere until his contract in July the 1st, his release clause comes down on July the 1st. I think at the moment it's 200 million, and on July the 1st it comes down to about 150, 130 million euro. So he can't go anywhere till July the 1st anyway. He can have verbal agreements with Barcelona. Atletico Madrid can say he's going to Barcelona, but the reason this hijacked story from United has any legs is because actually, officially, he could talk to other clubs and change his mind. I hope we don't change his mind. I don't want Antoine Griezmann at Manchester United. I don't think that he is the sort of player that we need. He's a top quality player. He isn't the player that we need. And if there's £100 million to be spent, go and spend it on Jadon Sancho, because in the long term, he will be far more beneficial for us than Griezmann. And on top of that, he fills a position we need, an out-and-out right winger. None of this inverted winger crap, none of this false nine crap. We need a right winger, and Jadon Sancho is probably the best option out there. Whether we can do it or not, I don't know. But all I ever focus on is the fact that United wanted him 2 months ago, and he was very open to the move 2 months ago. What's changed? Have United backed out because they don't want to pay too much money? In which case, where is the ambition? What are we trying to rebuild if we're backing away from players that are going to make us better for a few million? Or has he backed out because he doesn't fancy the Europa League? In which case, I think that's a little bit weak-minded, because it's 1 year, mate. Come and be part of that journey. Don't come in a year's time when we've got back in the Champions League. Be part of the journey in the Premier League. Because I tell you what, you're going to get far more exposure and far more development at Manchester United in the Premier League and the Europa League than you are in a season in Dortmund, because that's a pub league, mate, below about 2 or 3 teams. So, come to Manchester United. Come to Manchester United. We need a player like that. We really, really do. Link in the video description for Football Index. Remember, this is the football stock market game where you can buy shares in real life players. Remember, you've got to be over 18, and please do gamble responsibly. Unlike a traditional bet where you put a tenner on and you lose it if your team loses, on Football Index you can buy shares in players. So if you look at Matthijs de Ligt there, he's currently trading at £3.19 a share. And over the last month, he's gone from just under £2.70 a share. So his price is going up at the moment because your price will fluctuate based on newsworthy stories. And obviously those players who are newsworthy for transfers at the moment, then their price is going to fluctuate. So De Ligt's a good player to get hold of, as is Rodrigo, who we think is probably on the move as well. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, an interesting one as well. He's a prime example of a player. If you look at over the last 3 months, it's shot up. But over the last month, he's been hovering around the £2 a share mark, and he is now up to £2.33. If he signs for United, or if there's some real concrete news around United, that's going to keep going up. So what I would do is, if you're going to play Football Index, I'd go in with about 20 quid. Because then 20 quid would get you 10 shares in Wan-Bissaka. And if his price goes up to about 2.50 or 3 quid, you're making 20 pence to 70 pence per share. So the more shares you've got in a player that's going up, the more profit you're going to make. And if you look at my portfolio at the moment, if it will ever bloody load, my portfolio, will it load? Will it not? The top 200 will. I don't know why my portfolio is not loading, but I'm currently in around £300 profit at the moment, which is, and I've got players like Bruno Fernandes, Ndombele, Koulibaly, who I'm going to sell because I'm just holding off in case Koulibaly does sign. But effectively, players' price will go up by newsworthy stories, so it's all about transfers really at the moment. Link in the video description. There's profit to be made there. There's forums. If you like Football Ultimate Team on FIFA or Fantasy Premier League, you'll enjoy this game. Remember, you've got to be over 18. Do gamble responsibly. And the link is in the video description for that. Can I get myself back on the stream? Can I get a rewind? Yes, I can. Thanks everyone for watching. Link in the video description for Football Index. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe into the channel if you're new and you've got your notifications on, because we will go live if there's any news on the computer today about Manchester United. I'm not convinced we'll do anything over the weekend, so I think today is potentially the day. So make sure you've got your notifications on, and hopefully I'll be speaking to you again at some point. If not, 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching.